Appreciate your effort on the roots of our rights. Okay, a couple of things I just want to drive home, reinforce, and so forth from this. Okay, first of all, you are writing a essay on your test, and the first body paragraph is going to be about the roots of our rights and the English tradition on our form of government. So what you read were three English constitutions, the first of which was in 1215, obviously the Magna Carta. Guys, that was over 800 years ago, and there's a reason we're talking about it, okay? Because it's going to have a profound impact on the world moving forward, especially the world that we live in today. So prior to 1215, we had the absolute rule of monarchs, where the king could do whatever he wanted, to whoever he wanted, whenever he wanted. And in 1215, King John is going to be forced to sign this document, correct? Does he want to sign it? But for the first time, they're placing limits on the king, that there's a rule of law that the king must follow. He doesn't like that, because the king wants to do whatever he wants. But the principle of limited government is established with the Magna Carta, okay, as far as the English tradition goes. And let me remind you, I'm still speaking English. So this is the profound impact on our government, okay? Not all governments, but our government. So that is one of the profound things that you should take from this. Now, as far as the rights found in this document, there is some argument. Now, I did not give you the full text of these constitutions. Could I have? Yes, but I didn't. You're welcome. Okay, so we're going to take each document one at a time, okay? Now, one thing I do want to kind of make clear, and I took that into consideration when I was looking at your graphs, is this. If it was found in 1215 in the Magna Carta, they're not giving that up in 1628. So if you didn't see it in the Petition of Right or an English Bill of Rights, it doesn't mean that that right hasn't been extended from 1215. Follow me? So if you marked it in the first column, it was fair to mark it in all three. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, on the test, am I going to require you to list all of the rights from each of these three documents? No, you don't have time to do that. You got too much other stuff to write about. 45 minutes. Okay, so do some of these bear mentioning? Sure. Okay, do the three documents themselves bear mentioning? Absolutely. Okay, now let's start with freedom of speech. Did anybody have freedom of speech under the Magna Carta? No, you won't find it. Okay, freedom of religion. Okay, we did see, I saw quite a few of those. Now let's think, DJ. 1215. We're in England before it's Britain, okay? There's church. What is it? The English church, but what is it? It's Catholic, yes? When's the Protestant Reformation? 1517 or 1519? One of those two. We just celebrated the 500th anniversary of a couple of years ago. Inside joke. Okay. Now, thanks for laughing. Okay. All right. So, it's Catholic. Now, is there a group of people on this planet that believe in God, that do not believe that Jesus Christ was the Messiah? What do we call those people? You could call them Jewish. Are there people on the planet in 1215 that believe in polytheism? Are there pagans in England in 1215? Do they have freedom of religion? No. You're either Catholic or you're persecuted. Now, that whole thing's going to get flipped on the Catholics pretty soon in England. Yes? Not in France. All right. Freedom of the press. I did see some of those marked. Okay, I've been over this a few times. What do you got?
Number 14, it says, like they can write letters.
A common council of the kingdom. Okay, now this is going to be your nobility. Okay, your earls. Well, I think they say it. Do they say it? Yeah, the archbishops, bishops, abbots, earls, and great barons individually by our letters, because to be summoned. Okay, this is going to be a council to advise the king. But as far as the press goes, in fact, guys, none of these have freedom of the press. Okay, it's a unique to the United States. Let me tell you why. Okay, early on in this country, we had the 13 colonies. When people started to make newspapers after the printing press was created, okay, and they started criticizing their governors and their government officials, they were putting them in jail for criticizing the government. Okay, so when they wrote the Bill of Rights, they said, we're not going to let that happen. Okay, people have the right to criticize their government. In the press, it's fact, it's their job. Okay, to be a watchdog for the people, not a lapdog government. You can tell the difference. Right to bear arms in the Magna Carta. Did I find it? I didn't see it. What about soldiers in your house? Magna Carta. I didn't see it. What about no unreasonable search and seizure? DJ had that. Anybody else have that? Yeah, you should have had that. Okay. What number is that? 41 and 39. I like 39. No free man shall be seized, imprisoned, dispossessed. Okay, that's your seizure. Okay. Outlawed, exiled, anywhere destroyed, nor will we proceed against or prosecute except by lawful judgment of his peers. Oh, well, that's going to give us trial by jury, right? And due process. So 39 actually gives us 3. Now, guys, this may be a little, maybe you haven't been exposed to this term due process. So I just want, it's a basic thing. So let me explain due process to you. Any engagement that a citizen has with an officer of the government. When I say officer of the government, what could that mean? That could be a police officer. It could be an FBI agent, a DEA agent, an IRS agent that collects your taxes. Any engagement that you have with a government official or an agent of the government, there is a process that each of us are due. For instance, if a police officer is going to take you downtown and arrest you, he has to do what? Read you your rights. What are these rights called? Miranda rights. This comes from Miranda versus Arizona, 1961. See, the problem was Miranda didn't know what his rights were. He was arrested. He didn't know he had the right to remain silent. And he spilled the beans. Okay? And his lawyer did a heck of a job because he got it all the way to the Supreme Court and won. Okay? Here's the thing. We can't expect high school students in this country to pay attention in their government classes and learn what their rights are. No, we have to tell them what their rights are when they're arrested. Because it would be too much to ask that we in this country learn what our rights are. Just throwing a little Okay. All right, next. No excessive fines or bail. Magna Carta. You went with that, DJ? Is that a half hand? What number? Is it 39 again? $42?
Well, 41 said
41.
without any unjust exactions.
And that's people, merchants, right? Going out of, traveling in and out through England, merchants. That'd be like tariffs, maybe?
Yes.
That's kind of what I'm reading there. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm reading there. Okay, according to ancient rites and customs. Okay, cruel punishment. No. Right to petition. Did anybody check that? Okay. You remember where you found that? 14 is a possibility. So I have that one as kind of a question mark, but not really. Okay, so the right to petition. So this common council in number 14 calls the summon of archbishops, bishops, abbots, earls, and so forth. So this council would be able to petition, right? Like to go to the king. But I don't know about the average person. You know what I mean? But probably not. Yeah. Habeas corpus. Anybody check that one? Natalie, do you have that one? Yeah, it's in there. Okay. All right, good. All right, so that's 1215. This is a journey from 1215 to 1776. That's what we're going on. This is what your essay's about. From 1215 to 1776. So fast forward 400 years. Okay, and over time in England, they started this council, eventually turned into something called Parliament. And at the very beginning of Parliament, they had a bicameral legislature. We know what that means. And they had a House of Lords and a House of Commons. When Parliament first got power, which one of these bodies had all the power? But the Lords had all the power. This is your nobility. This is your aristocracy. The commoners, they just said, yeah, we'll let you guys mill about and be part of it. It's kind of like the teachers here, you know. We'll ask your opinion, but we're going to make the decisions. Let the adults make the decisions, okay? Not the commoners, all right? Now, by the end of this, guys, this is going to be flipped, right? The House of Commons is going to have all the power, and the House of Lords is going to have nothing. Merely symbolic. Okay, now, we have the Senate and the House, yes? Which both have important roles. How many members are there in the United States House of Representatives? Pretty good, pretty good. All right. Eventually, it will be. Eventually. You won't know when it comes, but it's going to be on one of the tests. All right. Maybe the legislative branch test. Aye.
I know you can always ask a question. Yeah. That is a question, I guess.
Yeah, that would have been a. Okay, bye.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to the petition of right. Okay, now guys, this one, we kind of get into this soap opera. All right, we've got King Charles I, and they're going to force him to sign this petition of right. All right, he doesn't want to sign it, and by now, this is a Protestant nation. Yes, the Anglican Church, the Church of England. Now, keep in mind, both the Catholic Church 1215 and the Protestant Church 1628 is intertwined with the king, with the crown. King is in charge of the church. Okay, which is another thing we're going to choose to separate. Yes? Okay. Now, with this, Charles signed the petition right, but then he violated it. And the Parliament got mad. Yes? And there was this group called the Puritans. The Puritans, okay? They wanted to purify the church. Really, they wanted to get what last vestiges of Catholicism that was still in the church out, okay? So they were very strict. And then the king violated some stuff, and what happened to the king? 1649. He lost his head. They literally cut his head off, okay? Then I have that little thing about Bill Clinton's impeachment on there. I don't know if you saw that. Thought that was bad. Or Trump's two impeachments. You thought that was bad. All right. So in the English Petition of Right, what rights may we find? Freedom of speech? Nope. Freedom of religion? Especially if you're Catholic? No. Right? The whole thing's turned on its head. Okay? Freedom of the press? Nope. Right to bear arms? Nope. No soldiers in your home. No quartering of soldiers. Okay, good. Now, let's pay attention here, people. As we went through the colonial era and we started on the Revolutionary era. After the Boston Tea Party, 1773, British Army is going to occupy Boston. In fact, the Royal Navy is going to freaking take up the harbor of Boston. They don't have a place to house these soldiers. So they're going to quarter them in people's homes in Boston. This is a no-no. Remember, these people came over from England and they brought these rights with them. This is an extreme violation of your rights. Okay? And it's going to give ammunition to those seeking rebellion against the British. Yes? Key point. Okay. Petition of Right also has no unreasonable search and seizure. You could look at number 4, where it says disinherited, okay, but also by virtue of the Magna Carta, okay. Due process, yes. In number 4, trial by jury, yes. No excessive fines or bail. Peterson, did you have that one? No. You didn't have that one, did you? You shouldn't have. You have no idea what I'm talking about. Okay, we're on petition of right, and we're down to cruel and unusual punishment. Do you have that one? DJ had it? This? Okay. Where'd you find that? Number 4. Disinherited nor put to death. But you can be put to death if you're brought for due process. Yes? You just can't be put to death for no reason. Now that's covered. But you can still be put to death if you get your due process. Wouldn't you say, Nathan? Mr. T? Yeah. What do you got?
Number 10.
10.
None be called to make answer or to take oath to give attendance or be confined or otherwise molested.
What part of the paragraph is that?
Right in the middle.
And that none be called to make answer and to take such oath or give attendance or be confined or otherwise molested. Okay, so you got to read the part before that. Okay, they do therefore humbly pray that you most that no man hereafter be compelled to yield a gift, loan, benevolence, tax, or such a charge without common consent of Parliament, and none be made to answer, oath, give attendance, be confirmed, otherwise molested, concerning the same for refusal for that no free man shall be imprisoned. Yeah, I mean, I think this is Parliament saying that if you want a tax, you have to go through us. But I don't think it's saying it's not blatant. You know what I mean? It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's argument. Habeas corpus by virtue of the Magna Carta. Okay. Then let's slide over to the English Bill of Rights. Okay. Now this is your soap opera, guys. This is okay. They cut off King Charles's head, right? 1628. Then Charles II comes in, signs the Petition of Right. Here's the problem. 1628, right? 1628. Charles. Get over here. 1649. Charles I is executed. Sorry. Right? So 11 years between 1649 and 1660. There's no king. This is called the long what? The long parliament. And who becomes the leader of that long parliament? He's like a dictator. Oliver Cromwell. Guys, remember this name? Have you learned this in English literature this year? Once upon a time, there was a senior English teacher named Mr. Barber that always used to do English literature your senior year. Is that what you guys are doing now? English lit? There seems to be some confusion on this.
Yes, there is.
What are you reading right now? What are you reading?
Catholic social teacher.
I'm just gonna write
Catholic-
18 paragraphs. Shakespeare.
We just finished hand. We're about to start Brave New World.
Brave New World?
We're writing 18 paragraphs.
For Catholic social.
This is called cross-curricular learning. I talked about Charles Carroll. Right? Yeah. Of Carrollton. Yeah. Good luck with that. When's that due?
Tonight, and it was assigned this.
Good luck.
Some teachers.
Maybe you should have signed up for CAS.
I wish.
I don't know if you wish.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
We have 3 tests.
All right. So no king. Cromwell. And then they're like, dude, this isn't working. So we need restoration of the crown. So who's going to replace Charles II? Charles II comes in. He's great. He's abiding by law. Things are going pretty good. But the problem with Charles II, guys, he doesn't have an heir. He doesn't have a son. Okay, so if you don't have a son, the heir of the throne goes to maybe a brother. And Charles II has a brother. His name's James. What's the problem with James? He's Catholic. Can you imagine a Catholic king over a Protestant nation in a Protestant church? I can't. But apparently that's what's going to happen. So they bring in Charles II dies, natural causes, didn't lose his head. Bring in James. Now they told James to pass this thing called the Edict of Nantes. And they said, James, when you become king, you cannot have any Catholics in your cabinet. And if heaven gives you a son, you cannot have that son baptized in a Catholic ceremony. He must be baptized in a Protestant ceremony. Well, James becomes king, and his second wife bears him a son. Guess what he does? As any good Catholic would do, he has him baptized by a Catholic priest. Parliament wants his head, and they're going after him. Okay? So he flees the country. Where does he go? Into the open arms of King Louis XIV in France, which is a very Catholic nation. Okay? They don't have a king. Again. So they got to go find a king. Now here's the problem, trying to keep the family, bloodline thing going. Okay? But they find this guy named William of Orange. Where's Orange? The Netherlands. Guys, if you're ever watching World Cup soccer, watching the Olympics, there's a team that always wears orange. And that's the Netherlands. Weird like that. So William of Orange, first of all, he's Protestant. He's got a strong army, and he hates the French. Bonus. Okay? And believe this, he's married to Mary of Braganza. Who's that? That's James's daughter, James II's daughter from his first marriage, which was annulled. But she carries the bloodline. So William and Mary are asked to assume the throne, but they've got to follow the English Bill of Rights. Yes? In order to become king and queen. And they accept. We will follow the rule of law. Okay? William and Mary. This is known as the Glorious Revolution. Okay? Glorious for Protestants. Now, be fair. Did the French persecute Protestants? Yes, they did. And the French and the British prosecuted each other in 4 wars of empire. Yes? The last of which was what? French and Indian War. 7. Okay. All right. So what rights do we find from the English Bill of Rights? Free speech. I think somebody had that marked. Not in there. Freedom of religion. You're Catholic? No. Freedom of the press, as talked about earlier? No. Now, I asked Lauren why she put right to bear arms. I don't know why she did. But maybe you remembered from when you had Mr. Swords, because a couple of years ago I was teaching this, and believe it or not, the teacher next door could hear what I was saying. And Mr. Swords came over after class. He was very classy about it. Okay, he's like, Mr. Ebright, I heard you talking about the English Bill of Rights. Just want to let you know that they did allow the right to keep and bear arms in that document. It's not in that. That's not the full document. Okay, so no fault of your own there. Okay, but just for full disclosure, I should probably add that in. Okay, yes, right to bear arms. It's in there. Lauren must have gone above and beyond the call of duty somehow. Figured that out. I think a couple other people had right to bear arms as well. Woo! All right. No soldiers in your house? Yes, as just passing on from the previous. Okay. Unreasonable search and seizure? Yes. Assuming passing that on. Due process? Yes. Trial by jury? Yes. Excessive fines and bail? Yes. Right to petition or no cruel punishment? Yes. Right to petition? Yes. Habeas corpus by extension. All right. So, which ones did we create on our own? The first 3. Guys, in Britain today, 2024, they do not have the same level of free speech protections as we do. Canada certainly doesn't. Freedom of religion, guys. Boy, do we take this one serious. Okay, this is huge in our country. And it has helped eliminate a lot of problems in society. Okay, now, have minority religions been discriminated against from time to time in this country? Yes, but I think even if you take government class and you understand the reason why we do this, so you've got Muslims moving into the country, right? You got Muslims. We don't agree with a lot of what's in the religion. A lot of it we agree with. But listen, they have just as much right as you as Catholics or me as a Protestant to practice their religion in this country as do Hindus, Buddhists, and anybody else. We start cracking down on that, guys, we're going to have civil wars. People are going to die. Okay? So you combine speech and religion, guess what? I can criticize your religion. I can make fun of your religion. And what do you do about it? Nothing. You can criticize me back, right? But you're not going to go kill me over it, right? Right? Please, let's not do that. Sometimes it's funny. Sometimes it's offensive. But sometimes when it's offensive, it's funny. That's what makes it funny. Oh, I can't believe they just said that. That's funny. Sometimes we take ourselves too seriously, yes? And the freedom of the press. And I just kind of told you about that. Like they were literally putting people in jail for criticizing the governors of the colonies, okay? And the states. The states. After we broke away, they were still putting people in jail in some of the states for criticizing the local government, okay? Now, these people that get elected to office, guys, you got to have skin. You got thick skin to run for office. I mean, I hate being criticized. If I had this many students talking about me today, as some of the other teachers in this school have had, I would be bothered by that. That would bother me. Now, some people it doesn't bother, and that's good. They've got thicker skin than I do. Okay? And here's the thing. If you're bitching about your teacher, you need to be right. Okay? You need to be right. Did you know the rules? Were you told the rules? If you weren't, you got something to complain about. Yes? Yeah. All right. Hey. Your first paragraph essay. These two things need to be included. Okay? We really adopt this from the British. Okay? So you can list some of the rights, list the 3 documents, talk about them, the importance of them. Okay? But this one we really get from the Magna Carta, limited government, and then representative government from the development of the Petition of Right and the English Bill of Rights. Okay. So I think what you're seeing with the last 2 is this beginning to flip. So under the Petition of Right, House of Lords, under the English Bill of Rights, the House of Commons is gaining authority. Okay. Rule of the people, by the people. Okay. Sound good? So I think you got enough ammo for paragraph 1. We did the colonial stuff. We started on the Revolutionary era, which we will conclude tomorrow, and we'll be done with notes. So the video on Thursday, which will be good for the essay, okay? And then subsequent video on Friday, if you show interest in that, I'll show you another video, and I love this video, and I like to show it to my students. And I'll kind of talk through part of it. That'll be Friday, okay? Monday will be a review day. That's Tuesday and Wednesday. I know we have all school math. We're just gonna have to figure stuff out, okay? And this happens every year with my honors government classes. I end up sending out an email to the school saying, sorry, some of my students are finishing their honors government essay. And teachers that have been here have been getting that email for a long time. But they don't give me time. I mean, I'm just doing my job.
Great.
Thanks.